Hey Mom, can I have a quarter? Hey, Fragorn here. Another build guide for the upcoming Path of Exile 3.27 League that's starting. Keepers of the Flame. We got a name for it now. This is another league starter that's going to be perfect for this league. I can't imagine it get nerfed. Who knows if we get patch notes that make this absolutely terrible. I'll do a video update on it, changing what I need to do or what you need to do, but this build's been around forever in various forms, and I can't imagine it would get nerfed any more than it currently is, since it's hardly played by anybody, and I don't know why it isn't. So what I'm doing is Wilma's Requital Totems, Toxic Rain, and Toxic Rain with my Mirage Archer. So it's all totem damage. The Mirage Archer, however, since it's not me, can actually do damage even though I'm wearing a Wilma's. So two sources of damage. So how this works is you use the Pathfinder, focus on flasks. Flasks and wither is what you get out of this ascendancy. So for your first lab, you would take Nature's Reprisal for chance to inflict withered. Withered is an extremely powerful effect that applies increased chaos damage taken. 15 times 6 is what you get. So what is that, 90? Yeah. And then this is actually increased by a further 50% effect by being a Pathfinder. So 90 and 50% is like 115 or something. So very strong increased damage taken effect. Second thing you get from Pathfinder is flasks. So the base Nature's Adrenalin gives you a base flask recharge, 3 charges every 3 seconds. So you're getting 1 flask charge every second. Very, very, very strong. Followed with Nature's Boon, utility flasks have increased 30% increased effect. So that's all your magic flasks. All the ones that are like this are considered magic flasks. Doesn't apply to health flasks, doesn't apply to unique flasks like this guy. But all of your regular magic flasks. For your last lab, I haven't even done it yet. I'm only level 72. Either go with Master Alchemist if you want to have a less active, lazier playstyle. If you want a more active playstyle but are being stronger, take Master Surgeon. This turns your life flask into regeneration. However, you just have to click it every 5-6 seconds to keep it going. Your life flask effects are not removed when the on-reserve life is filled. So normally a life flask fills you up to the top and then shuts off. This, however, fills you up to the top and it just keeps going until the flask duration would end. So a flask like that's 2 seconds, that's no good. I need a longer one. That one's 350. So you can get these and make the duration longer, up to like 5-6 seconds, with some of the rolls on them. I'm not using that. I actually don't want to press a life flask. I want nothing to do with it. I'm plenty tanky without it. What I'm using to heal is life regeneration, and this 1 flask mastery right here lets me recover 4% of my life whenever I use a flask, and I use flasks like crazy because I have mine all set to be used when full. And since they're constantly recharging on their own, even when I'm not in combat, these are just going off constantly. When you're mapping and you're killing monsters and refilling these flasks like crazy, they're just going off like mad. So that's my recovery. It's not good in hard maps, super juice content. You can't even kind of consider playing this build and that kind of stuff. But what it's perfect for is league starter stuff. So Toxic Rain, how it works is you shoot a shot and you get 5 of these pods with every one. They stay for a duration, and as they're on the ground, these guys last 3.78 seconds. As they're on the ground, they're doing damage to enemies around them, and then they explode at the end of their duration. Mine right now are doing 1976 chaos damage per second per pod. So that's times 5. When I play this and I'm cruising and I'm fighting a single target, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 totems shooting at 0.24 seconds. It's actually something like that. So we'll say 4 times a second, give or take, actually a little faster. Six totems shooting 4 times a second times 5 pods. So that's, 6 times 4 is 24. They're all shooting 5 pods, whatever 24 times 5 is. Let's do the quick math here. So 120 pods doing 1967 damage a second. The enemy's taking 115% increased damage. So we're looking at 271, almost 300,000, just base. That's like tooltip damage with no other modifiers involved whatsoever. Just from that 1976 times 6 number. And this is in terrible gear. I mean, just league start gear with no special effects. I don't even have damage over time multiplier on my amulet. I have awful quiver with accuracy and life and fire resistance, a little bow damage. I mean, just terribly rolled stuff. A quill rain doing 30% less damage, but increasing your attack speed by a significant amount. It's the fastest weapon in the game. Regular chaos ring, which just regen. Amulet, bout, just regen, more flask charges gained. Nothing really adding to my damage at all except for my flasks, with my silver flask giving me a very powerful onslaught, and my jade flask with evasion, my quartz flask with really good spell suppression. I am spell suppression capped when this is on, I'm not when it's off. An armor flask with more armor, and a bismuth flask with more elemental resistances, and then immunity to corrupted blood and bleeding. So that's how I'm running. Other gear. So how does this work? What makes this build actually function? And when I do the map, you'll see what happens. Quill Rain is crazy fast. It does no damage by itself, but Toxic Rain doesn't scale with bow damage like most things do. The Spore Pods is the only thing we're scaling. So we're scaling duration and attack speed, gem levels, and chaos damage and damage over time. So the base 195.6 base chaos damage per second is what we're scaling to get it up to 1976. And I think its base duration for this is 1 second. I scale duration to get mine up to 2.2 seconds on that one. Well, I don't have that one doesn't have the duration. This one is 3.7 seconds. I would have the duration in my 5th socket, but I don't have this. I'm only doing 5 links instead of 6 because of the league start situation. Other gears, just resistances and a little life regen. Same, little regen. That's my only recovery, is what little bit of regen I get from gear. I do have a stone golem, but he dies all the time, so I don't even know if I'm going to keep that in the build. I do have lots of auras going. I've got vitality. It's low level. It's not high level. I think I got it at level 7. Just for a little regen, I have that on. Arrogance to reserve life along with my clarity. So low level clarity, an 8 and a 7 there. On arrogance reserves 342 life. That's what you're seeing there. The rest of my auras are on my mana. I got a haste. I get a period of elements to cap my resistances and be helmet immune. And I got a skitterbots. I don't have enough to run malevolence. But malevolence would be the best option over skitterbots. So the way to get that is level up, get a cluster jewel in, eventually get yourself one of these with either haste or mortifying aspect. Won't be just fine. That malevolence has 50% increased mana reservation efficiency. Would make it cheap enough so that I could use malevolence instead of skitterbots, but right now I can't. I don't have a cluster jewel set up yet. but I am only level 72. So, tree-wise and skill-wise, let's see what we're doing here. Skills first. Toxic Rain is linked with Ballista Totem. The reason I use Ballista Totem is because of the Wilma's Requital. This is just an awesome helmet. Don't worry about the level of socketed AoE gems. I just have that corruption. It doesn't even do anything for me. It's not helping. So with this you get Ancestral Bond, which is the totem skill up here that says you cannot deal damage with skills yourself, but you get an extra totem. So I have 6. I have 1 from there, 3 from the gem itself, 4 from going watchtowers. Well, I have 6. What am I doing wrong? I'm miscounting something. You get 3 and 3. So it's 4, 5, and 6 from Anointing Surveillance. You could just path down here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get that, but I like to anoint it. It's a cheap anoint. It's only Sepia, Indigo, and Opalescence. This is a handful of chaos. It's not an expensive anointment, and it saves me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It saves me 6 passives, so that's what I'm anointing for my 6th totem. Wilma's also gives me increases in reduction to cast speed applied to attack speed. So all of my stuff has both cast speed and attack speed. Haste, 23% increased cast speed, 23% increased attack speed. You can basically just double that. So I get 46% increased attack speed from haste. Onslaught gives you 20% increased attack and cast speed. I get 40 because the cast speed and the attack speed both buff the cast speed. I also scale Onslaught with Dressless Defiance. This is a very cheap body armor. Very easy to get day 1 of a league. If not day 1, for sure day 2. I have it 6 linked. You won't have it 6 linked. What you're going to look for in first day of the league is not one like this. You do not want you take reduced damage from crits. You want to buff your Toxic Rain. So Toxic Rain's tags are Attack, AoE, Chaos, Duration, Projectile, and Bow. Of these tags at the top, AoE, Duration, and Projectile can all roll as a corruption. It says +2 to that type of skill. So you want to address those Defiance that has +2 to Projectile gems, +2 to AoE gems, +2 to Duration gems. I'm sure I got some here that have some of that stuff. Like this one has +2 to socketed AoE gems on it. This one +2 to socketed aura gems. You look for a corruption like that to raise the level of my Toxic Rain from here at 18 would be right up to 20. Very powerful. Toxic Rain scales very powerfully with gem levels. Attack and cast speed, gem levels, skill effect duration. The more your pods stay on the ground, longer and more damage they're doing. And the longer they stay on the ground, the more of them you can put down. So those all just sit there and damage the target forever. Another cheap piece of gear. So Dressel's Defiance, like I mentioned, is awesome. It's pretty high armor, pretty high evasion, decent life roll. The leech doesn't really help us. The endurance stretch stuff doesn't really help us. But the 100% increased effective onslaught does. So I said we're getting 40% from our onslaught because of 20% attack speed, 20% cast speed. We're getting 80% increased attack speed because Dressel's Defiance doubles the value of our onslaught. So huge attack and cast speed from haste. Huge attack and cast speed from onslaught. Another super cheap unique. This is like 5 to 10 chaos. Gives me 18% increased skill effect duration, 14% increased attack speed, 14% increased cast speed. So this is dang near 30 more attack speed because both the cast and attack become attack speed. And another huge chunk increase to my duration. Gives you a little recoup, gives you unaffected by temporal chains, gives you damage. It's just an outstanding cheap ring for this build and this build specifically. Belt stuff, nice things to look on a cheap starter belt is increase flash charges gained. You know, we're getting 3 back every 3 seconds from our nature's adrenaline, but you can increase that by getting increased flask charges gained. Flask applied have increased effect. Increased flask charges gained. Increased flask effect duration. So you can buff all of that stuff. It's very effective to help your build all around function, having your flasks on full uptime. You can see they're just up most of the time, just sitting in my hideout. But when you're killing monsters, they never fall up. So during maps, they're up the whole time. So you can count on them. Tankiness. I am not tanky. I got a little evasion. I got a little armor. I got a little life pool. So right now, with no flasks going, there we go. With flasks up, I'm at 11,000 armor, 14,000 evasion. I am spell suppression capped with my flasks up. I'm also very fast with my flasks up. As you can see, I'm pretty slow, and then my onslaught will kick in any second now, and I'll go way faster. Yeah, it's very nice, just smooth. I'm also constantly phasing from having the quartz flask up. So it's an incredibly smooth playstyle, and I'm going to show you why you would use this build. It'll get you your first 2 waystones relatively easily. You're going to have to spend money on it to get it to work really well, but this is a crazy cheap budget right now with these 5 links only, and I don't even have a good corruption on this Dressel's Defiance. Basically it does nothing. So this quiver's terrible. It's just got a damage over time multiplier roll and a little bow damage. I don't have gem levels or damage over time multiplier on my amulet. All of that stuff would help. Right now I think we're playing our Toxic Rain as it's leveled. Yeah, it's gaining nothing. No levels gained at all, so this is pure base. So what I'm doing for strategy, why you play this build, is you can either do essences and delirium or just delirium, depending upon how much these essences cost next league. So I'm going to show you a map. I got 2 promenades, one with a delirium strat, one with a essence strat. I'll show you them both. So you're imagining league start, you don't have all your slots yet, so I'm just using 1 essence scarab, contains 2 additional imprisoned monsters. 2 essence scarabs, contains 2 additional imprisoned monsters. And that essences found in the area are a tier higher. All said, right now these are 1C a piece. I don't know what the prices are going to be like next league, but these are like 5 for a chaos, so they're crazy cheap. And you just slap more of them in as your map slots open. But I'm simulating a day 1 Atlas. So I do have my Atlas set up for essences. I got my shrines in there, extra scarab stuff. I don't need that right now. And delirium. So I have all these deliriums. Delirium here. More essences, chance to have 3 additional essences. More chance to have additional essences and essences of corruption. They all sell really good. Prison monsters have at least 1 essence of the highest possible tier. That goes really good with my essences that are 1 tier higher scarab. And then more delirium over here. Additional reward types. Chance to have delirium mirrors. More chance to give delirium orbs. More chance to drop cluster jewels. More splinters dropped, and an extra delirium reward on map completion. So if you kill the boss before the delirium runs out, you actually get a extra guy in there. So that is much better for the shore map. I'll show you that. And these are both white. I didn't even turn these blue. I got a level 6 and a level 6 map. They work. Delirium works just fine in yellow maps, and these are yellow. And essence works just fine because we're going to get the highest tier because of this. So this is going to give us a deafening essence, which sells nicely, and you can make good currency on it, especially earning a league right away with this. So that's what we're going to run. First I'll show you the tree. We're looking for flask effect stuff. So this one has flasks applied, have 5% increased effect. I also take it for the strength and intelligence. You need some of that. This one has flask charges gained, flask duration. You need that mastery for recover life when you use a flask. This is how we recover most of our life. I do take this stuff for spell suppression capped. I do convert some of my cost to life cost because I don't have much mana left over. So it's just life. This one is totem damage and placement speed, so you drop your totems faster, and then gives you the extra totem. So there's the 5th one. Like I said, I anointed this one for the 6th one. You just get life here, mana reservation efficiency in this wheel. This is bow damage and area of effect. You're trying to get somewhere around 40% area of effect. Doesn't have to be exactly, but with this, I get 12. With this mastery allocated, I get 32, and then I do have 9% on my gloves, so I'm at 41, which is perfect. It's the best number for 5 spore pods. If you add additional arrows, you screw up your area of effect, so you do not want to increase the amount of arrows you shoot. You want it to be 5, and you want it to be within roughly 40% AoE to make the maximum chance for all 5 of your pods to be in range of a boss and do damage to a single target. You can see the explosion. That's how big the damage area is of each of these things. So it's like to right about here. Yeah. Skill effect duration. The longer the pods stay in the ground, the more they're doing damage. So this is very good. More just generic bow damage and damage over time with bow skills. Same, damage over time with bow skills. I use this for mana reservation and to reduce the cost of my attacks. Let's go keep it cheap. I think my totems are 11 mana and 4 life, so they're cheap to drop. I don't need a lot of mana. More damage with bows, damage over time, chaos damage over time, skill effect duration, evasion and life, chaos damage over time multiplier, a little chaos resistance, more mana reservation, a little more life, attack and cast speed, a little more damage over time, and skill effect duration. Next points will be in a cluster jewel moment out right here. I'll show you what I'll do with that after I run these different little maps and show you what this build does. Alright, so as you see, I got more duration linked with Mirage Archer, Toxic Rain, and Culling Strike, and Efficacy. So this is all to increase the damage of the Toxic Rain that my Archer's doing. If I hit somebody, the Archer spawns and he is up for time. Mirage Archer lasts 12.6 seconds. So for 12 seconds I do this, I hit something, he's up shooting, doing free damage. My Toxic Rain Ballistas are the ones that do all my actual damage. I have 6 of them, and they're going to smoke content. So, best way to do this is to get into a map. I got a Promenade that's white, it's level 6. It has to be, for this strategy to work and get your money back with this super cheap build, you have to do at least tier 6 maps. You don't need to go to higher level maps. A couple extra essences in there, so we're going to get like 5 because there's one on the Atlas and then 4 here. And every one of them is going to have at least 1 deafening essence to make our money. We also have Delirium on the map, so between Delirium Orbs that drop, Cluster Jewels that drop, and the Essences that drop, you do this as fast as you can, and you will make plenty of money to get your campaign started going day 1 with this strategy and this character.
They will all here's up when they learn the truth.
See that? He's hit, so now my Mirage Archer is up and shooting. I'm phasing, so I just go right through everything, and I'm super fast, and all my flasks are up. And they stay up the whole time. You can curse these bigger guys with Despair if you want to. Oh, I don't have my Mercenary on, because we won't have a Mercenary in 2.27. They just announced that, so no Mercenaries for here. Mercenaries for the strat. I got a speed buff. Look at how fast I am. So your defense is speed. Your defense is not getting hit. This guy must be highly chaos resistant. He is not dying.
I've got another one for you.
I just use Flame Dash to move around. But I mainly just run because I'm crazy fast as a Pathfinder with all that onslaught effect. I'm going to shut this off because that's really, I'm not that fast. You have decent evasion, you have decent armor, so I don't know if I've been hit or not yet. I'm so fast, I just miss everything. So just from the tree of the Atlas tree I have, and having a delirium mirror on it, I have 4 stacked decks going and 2 jewelers going, so listen, I don't know. Our totems are smoking this guy.
I'll never wear chains again, painted or otherwise.
Cluster drills will sell very well early in the league. So on day 1, day 2 of 3.27, this delirium strat will get you a whole pile of cluster drills and essences. You can either use yourself to increase your gear or sell them on the currency exchange. That was my delirium rewards just for ticking off. Got 5 stacked decks, 10 splinters, another cluster jewel. So that's easy selling on day 1. Probably our last essence here. Alright, that's it for that map. Let's take a look. So, don't count the exalt, that was lucky. These are probably 2 KS a piece. But you might sell this for 20. You might sell this for, that's probably not going to sell very well, but you can use that in your build. It'd be fantastic. Put it in my save it build. This is definitely a seller. Every one of these is going to be worth something, a C or 2 or something, KS or 2. So that run probably made, I don't know, we'll say 5 is 10 here, those. This is probably 10 to 20, we'll say 10 on the cheap side, so that's 20. And then we'll say these all equal 10 KS again too. So we made 30 KS. We probably spent about 3 KS to get it going with the scarabs and the map itself. So it's a handful of minutes to cruise through this map with terrible gear, and we're making 20-30 KS in that map. Very cheap and easy, efficient league starter. I don't want you there. You go. That's another cluster jewel you could easily keep and use to craft it for your grace or your despair. So that was with the junky junk. We're going to upgrade a little bit. Spent a little currency, got better. Do a couple things. We bought ourselves a replica Dragon Flangs Flight. Gives 3 to Toxic Rains. This is probably fairly expensive. It's going to be at least 60, probably 50, 60 chaos early in the league. So, but 1976.6. 2651 gives a huge chunk of damage. Huge. Next, we bought ourselves a 6-link. Now this one goes from 228 duration to 339. basically another whole second. That's another 30% damage, 30% more damage basically comes from that gem. You can also, if you want to spend a little more money, buy a decent Empower. Throw that in there. We go from 2,000 something to 3,600 something per chaos damage. 927.47 up to that. 36.65. I prefer the duration because it's free and it's probably just as good with making those last longer. And the last thing you can do is, we got a level 18 toxic rain here with 3 levels from the Dragonflank's flight. Well, we'll put in a level 2120, a good one. Put a void manipulation in with my Mirage Archer. Simulate having 2 6-links. Now I'm going to do the shore strat with a Delirium Scarab of Mania. This is super cheap, just makes them beater fill faster. And 1 Delirium Scarab of Paranoia, just to give them 2 extra reward types. Other than that, I'm going to keep the same atlas with the essences. I'm going to also do this again with a white map that's tier 6, just a white-yellow map. Don't care about anything difficult. I improved my gear a little bit, added a little damage. Let's take a look and see what happens here.
They know all your secrets. Nothing is hidden from them.
Got a bonus essence. I didn't even add extra essences to the map. I just found an extra one. That was just from my atlas. And there's another bonus one. See how nice the phasing is? Just to be able to run through stuff. That phasing flask is so nice. Large size. So when I come into this guy and kill him, all of my level 5 bubbles there for my delirium mirror. I'm gonna bump to 6 by the time I kill him, and then when I kill him, they're all gonna go to 7. So once they get to 6, you race to the boss. And you have level 7 rewards. He's on the other side of this shield back. Everything jumped to 7. And that's the end of our delirium. We're going to finish the mirror. We're going to pick up our rewards and see what we get for cash here. Again, this is something that I spent a couple chaos on. We'll finish clearing the map.
Just what I needed.
I got a level in just those 2 maps. Okay, let's take a look. What do we get for this one? Can ID these guys with their... Oh, what a terrible, terrible fracture. That one's not. Okay, big stack of cash for selling that. I guarantee people are going to want to buy 81 life fracture right off the base. That's really nice. This one's trash. We'll say this gets us, we'll be cheap again. We'll say it gets us 10 chaos. It's probably going to be more like 20. It's not a very good herald. Probably won't sell. 4 socket damage over time. I'd probably get 5 to 10 for that. We'll say this is 20 between the two of them. 7 of these is another 14. So we'll say that's 34. Delirium orb is worth 15, so that's, we'll say 50. And then the couple odds and ends, so just a little over 50 chaos for that white map. As easy as pie. I could probably run it
Hail Godslayer.
just as fast with my crappy gear as I could with my buffed up stuff. So you absolutely wouldn't need to increase your power by much to be able to do it just like that. And I still have a terrible quiver and awful gloves and nothing on my ring. So it's just a highlight of how you can build a build it's basically a glass cannon build, but since I'm so fast and I'm phasing and I have good evasion and a little bit of armor and onslaught, you can make this work like a charm. I brought some upgrades into this. I don't need this. Let's do the guild stash. Already talked about upgrading the gem itself, possible in power, possible Dragon Fangs amulet. You want your +2 duration projectile or AoE gems on here for 2 more gem levels, which would buff this damage up even higher. You can get really good corruptions on your time class ring. So this one has cannot be poisoned and malevolence orb effect. So once I have this going and can use malevolence, I get to even buff it more with that. Very nice. Cluster jewel with chaos damage. I got unwaveringly evil is a nice one. You don't really get stunned, but it's still a nice 30 chaos roll. There's a better one that actually has a damage over time multiplier, but I just picked these up and spanned a couple of I hit them with, show you how I do this. I just go tell you what I like. Oh, I like that explodey. I'm gonna keep that one. Cool. I have these going in. Student of Decay is awesome. It's going to give me a little more chaos resistance. I think I'm at like 50 something, 53. So that's going to give me 13. So it's going to take me to 56, 66 chaos resistance. Very nice. Put that in when I get it going. Spike, Concoction, and Special Reserve. These are unbelievably good for a Pathfinder. So what this is going to give me is 5% increased attack and cast speed during any flask effect, and I get Alchemist Genius when I use a flask, which I'm constantly using flasks. I constantly have the attack and cast speed. Alchemist Genius gives me 20% increased flask charges gained and 10% increased effective flasks. They're going to make them better and make them fill faster. It's just awesome stuff. This one's going to reduce the cost of my malevolence, so I can use that instead of skitterbots. I have a buffed arrogance, which I would put in. Give me a little better reservation efficiency. I got a buffed totem, which I would put in. Give me a little more totem life and a little more totem damage. I got a better Mirage Archer that I would put in. Better time class ring. And then, the big upgrade right here. Once I hit level 78, I can switch to this belt. I may have to add strength because I'm getting 50 from that. And yes, I'm going to. I'm going to have to get strength. So I will probably have to allocate this guy right here. And maybe this one too, to be able to use the same gear and get that in there. But what it's going to do for me is Utility Flask, the last line, gain 3 charges every 3 seconds. It's the exact same buff you get from this. This is like a mini headhunter. It's very awesome and pretty cheap belt. So I'll be getting 6 every 3 seconds instead of 3 every 3 seconds. It'll even more refill my flasks super fast. They'll pop like crazy. They also get flasks applied to you have 25% increased effect. Flasks applied to you have 30% increased effect, so I'll have 55 increased effect in my flasks from this. Just absolutely outstanding. And they'll be refilling like crazy and popping like crazy, and every time they pop off, because they're all used when full, I heal for 4% of my life every time I use a flask, and they'll just be going up and up and up like crazy fast. It's outstanding. So between getting that going, the better belt, the cluster jewel setup, I will really push the damage further without spending a lot of currency. Even with these nice upgrades, this is, I don't know what it'll cost you, maybe a divine or something like that sometime in the league. This, like I said, it's maybe 50-60 chaos. Getting these things 6 linked, this will probably cost you 2 or 3 divines to get it 6 linked. This will probably cost you a divine or 2 to get it 6 linked. You'll want a better quiver, things like that. Another good option for super cheap gear you can use as you're leveling, Fox Shade. It's my favorite chest. Best part about it is you get 30% increased movement speed when you're on full life. You can start using this at level 25. On every single evasion character I play, I try to get this, and I use it constantly. That 30% increased movement speed is so good for the campaign. It's unbelievable. And let's just take a look here. I want to see if it even affects my pushing. Oh, I'm going to go to the cheap one here and get rid of that +3. So I got a Fox Shade on right now.
Your life has been one long lie.
I'm not as fast as I am with the 100% increased onslaught. Isn't bad. So I'm in level 25 armor and a 5 link. Just because I'm moving correctly. And I have decent evasion. And a totem super safe playstyle. I'm not dying.
My gems and I'll make short work of you.
As long as you just drop totems and move around, you'll be just fine. There's currency right there. I don't know what that sells for, but I know it sells for something. Kill this boss quick. Finish the delirium encounter. Pick up my loot. That's worth 20 chaos. That's worth 5. That's worth 5. So yeah, this build costs nothing. It's crazy simple. It's crazy fast. It's unbelievably easy. And you will farm yourself up divines and divines and divines and divines like crazy. Just selling these simple things. Selling your delirium orbs, selling your cluster jewels, selling your essences. I've only done this strat for a little while, and here's my essence tab. It's just, I mean, I've just been playing around with this on and off for a day or so. With done like maybe 15 maps or something, 20 maps, I don't know, not many. And this is what I got in there from that. So it's just crazy how easy peasy this stuff is. I'm on my delirium orb tab. Where is that guy again? There it is. Look at all these delirium orbs. They're just piling up. I sell them when they fill up. I keep them when they don't. When I stack them up till I get like 100, 200, 300 of them and sell them. Let's take a look at these right here. Find delirium orbs. Let's take a look at an essence. That's not a sucky one. Deafening essences is always good. This first one's pretty good.
What have you?
Faustus. What do we got? An essence right here. We got a deafening essence of greed. Is that what it was? Yep. I want divines. 22 of them for one divine. Each one of them is worth 3 chaos. So that's, you'll find, I mean, that's just, they just come like crazy. Change this up. I want chaos orbs and I have delirium. These guys right here, I got 25 of them right now. What's one of them cost? One of those is 33 chaos. That's what I just found in that map. How long did the map take? I don't know. 2 minutes? Something like that. You're making 15, 20 chaos a minute. 10, 15 chaos a minute doing this. Bam, 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 bam. Just white maps as fast as you can with this crazy fast build. And imagine how fast my character is going to run through these maps when I'm level 93 and not 73, and I've had some small upgrades and improvements, more flask effect because I'm using this, nicer belt. Oh, another good leveling gear I just see here. If I want to get tankier, you switch to a lightning coil and use that instead of this. You lose the onslaught effect and some of your speed. That's not what I want. This. You lose your onslaught effect and some of your speed. But with the damage taken as lightning, physical damage taken as lightning, you get way tankier. Another pair of super cheap unique boots that are absolutely awesome. If you want to buy a Storm Shroud Jewel, which makes your chance to avoid elemental ailments equal to your chance to avoid lightning, shock, you can actually use these boots to get 30% chance to avoid ailments. I have 50 right here from these guys, because that's 20. So with that and that is 50, and you could use a flask that has shock avoidance on it. Don't I have one? I know I got one. Can't believe I don't have one. Well, it must be on all my other characters. Anyway, you see how this one says 50% chance to avoid being stunned during effect. There's a roll that says 50% chance to avoid being shocked during effect. So if you have the Storm Shroud Jewel, those easy to get cheap boots, and just these 4 points allocated, you are at 100% chance to avoid shock, which makes you 100% chance to avoid freeze, 100% chance to avoid chill, 100% chance to avoid scorch, shock, all the elemental ailments. Very cheap, very easy. So that is about it for my mega cheap, mega fast, mega effective build that you can do as much as you want with. My thoughts on League Start coming up on Halloween is to play this character or one of my other possible League Start guys that I like. I've got a handful of them. Rush to maps, blast this easy content of doing some essences or some deliriums, whatever, or both at the same time with very cheap scarabs. If those scarabs are expensive, obviously don't do this. If those scarabs are costing 5-6 chaos a piece, it ceases to become worth doing. But as you saw in that last one, I did the ley line. I didn't put any scarabs in at all, and I made 30 chaos. So you can probably do it without chaos if you have a build that's this fast and efficient, and still make without scarabs. I mean, and still make a lot of chaos. So, yeah, play like that. rush those strategies. Make your first few divines, buy yourself something good, switch to another build that needs a 10 divine investment. Get your 10 divines, get that build started, play that one the rest of the league if you want to. But I guarantee this build or any other league starter I put out with those farming strats, you'll be money. This is just the best one because you're so fast. So fun to be this fast. Anyway, that's all I have. Please hit the like and subscribe down below if this channel and content was at all helpful for you, and thanks for watching.